I'm back with blogger Alex Tsakumis. His website is alexgtsakumis.com. As you mentioned, you have political experience, business experience, and journalism experience. Let's talk politics for a minute. You started out with Bill Vander Zalm, a BC Premier, at age 23, which is pretty amazing. And you've kept your hand in politics. A lot of people who do that have interest at some point in running. Is that...
No.
Can you imagine yourself as mayor or as premier?
No.
Or as prime minister?
No, only maybe in my worst nightmares.
Why? You've seen it too?
I've seen politics from the nasty side so many times. It's not what it was even 4 or 5 years ago. It just gets progressively more nasty, and I'm jaded. I report on them, politicians. I report on some of their gaffes and missteps. I report on some of their successes. But politics has become a very, very nasty business. And I just, I find that the older I get, the more my relationship with my children, I have 3 children, it just defines me. And I love them way too much to do that to them and spend so much time away from them. And, my wife is my best friend, and she'd be pretty disappointed if I went off and did something like that. But I guess, no one can ever say never. Maybe, someday I might completely lose whatever mind I've got left
but you are quite critical.
But I doubt it.
You are quite critical of the entire landscape. I mean, you lean conservative, as you said, but you seem to be critical of Harper and Ignatieff on the federal level, likewise on the provincial level.
Well, if I wasn't, I'd have no integrity.
Yeah.
If I was just going
to
sit there...
I mean, you could be a staunch conservative and say, I don't like how the Liberals are doing it. This is how we should be doing it.
Yeah.
But you seem to think that I get the impression from your blogs that you feel it's sort of all gone awry. Things are not...
It has. I mean, we're the country, politically anyway, we're divided, we're disorganized, and in many ways defeated. I mean, a lot of the things and issues that matter to Canadians most don't often get addressed by any party. Just to go back to what I'd said earlier, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I respect both conservative bloggers and liberal bloggers, and even those who are NDP bloggers. I would not serve myself well if I didn't spread around the critique, because I admit that I'm a center to right-leaning fellow, but lots of times that doesn't necessarily bleed into the fabric of my writing. Right. I support gay rights. I support a woman's right to choose, even though it's a very conflicting, abortion is a very conflicting issue, as we saw in the last few days in the United States. So there are lots of positions that I take that are very offside of the conservative take.
Well, as a sort of center-right commentator, what do you think of Michael Ignatieff? Has he been able to galvanize any real support within the party and within the country?
If Michael Ignatieff was a successful leader with all the missteps and all the mistakes that the Conservatives have made, if you just took the prorogation Donnybrook and added Jason Kenney removing any reference to homosexuals from the immigrant handbook, Helena Gurgis dumping on the province of Prince Edward Island, and Jean-Pierre Blackburn trying to get a bottle of tequila passed through the airport. Right. If you just assembled those alone, Michael Ignatieff should be ahead by 6-7 points on that alone, and he's still trailing by 3. So that tells you something about Michael Ignatieff. He has no real support in terms of any kind of organization in Quebec. In Ontario, they keep putting Bob Rae out there, who pretty much destroyed the province not too long ago. He's got some good folks in British Columbia. There's no question about that, but he's not doing very well.
And Harper, how do you think, like you mentioned, that, for instance, the airport, there were 2 airport incidents with ministers having sort of brouhahas in the airport.
Yeah.
I mean, that, just taking that as an example, the most recent one. Do you think that's been handled in a professional way by the party and by the Prime Minister?
No, I would have fired Helena Gurgis. I think her comments about Prince Edward Island were disgusting. And I would have kept Jean-Pierre Blackburn, but I would have pulled him into Langevin Block and said, look, if this happens again, you're gone. His infraction was significantly less
He's trying to get tequila
problematic.
onto an
Yeah,
airplane.
I mean, he had something that he brought back. It's not a big issue.
Do you think it was an example of arrogance within politics, though? I mean, that's what people have been pointing at, that politicians feel like they have special treatment, and we, the people, don't like that.
Hard to say. In Gurgis's case, and I've only met her once, probably. In Blackburn's case, and I've met him a few times, I don't think so. I think he was just probably tired and upset, and this was a souvenir that he was bringing back. The only big sensationalist part of that story is that he was bringing over a bottle of booze. Right?
Well, we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You can visit Alex Tsakumis' website at alexgtsakumis.com. More of The Standard in a moment.